Remember the game Truth or Dare? If you picked Truth, you might have had to confess your most embarrassing mom moment, like the time you accidentally packed a shoe in your kid's lunchbox. But if you picked Dare, well, who knows what kind of wild adventure awaited you. Daring is scary, but today's guest on Mom to Mom Mentoring has built an entire movement around helping women to dare. And no, she's not asking you to jump out of a plane unless you really want to. Instead, she's challenging moms like you to dare to rediscover yourself, to dare to dream again, and to dare to let your kids develop their independence without completely losing your mind in the process. Jodi Silverman is the powerhouse behind Moms Who Dare, and she spent 20 years turning big ideas into big successes. She's got a unique knack for finding the gifts in life's messiest moments, like when your toddler paints the dog with peanut butter. And today, she's here to share how you can prepare your heart for the inevitable day when your kids start spreading their wings, whether they're 2 or 20 and still raiding your refrigerator. So grab your coffee, your mom cape, and maybe a tissue or two, because let's be real, this topic might get emotional. And let's dive into this conversation with the Queen of Dare, Jodi Silverman. Oh, and before we jump in, if you're ready to align your life with what matters most, join me for my free masterclass on March 10th and 11th during lunch. It's called Align Your Life with What Matters Most, and I dare you to sign up at momtomommentoring.com/values. Let's make sure your life reflects what's truly important to you. Now, get ready to be dared into greatness by this master at daring you to dream again. Jodi, I know there has to be a great story behind this idea of building a community, inspiring and encouraging women to dare. What is the story behind it all?
It's my fun word for stepping out of your comfort zone and trying new things. And I actually did not come up with it myself. I was inspired when I sat in a women's conference and the keynote speaker, Luann Kahn, who is an 8-time Emmy Award winning journalist, wrote a book called I Dare Me. She did something new every day for a year to get unstuck, to reboot and recharge her life. And it was in that room, Misty, when it hit me. I'm like, wow, I've been daring. I've been stepping out of my comfort zone, trying new things, and I've been scared, but I've been having fun and I've been breaking through. And I thought, oh my God, I'm a mom who dares. And after
Mm.
the conference, I ran up to her and I said, I felt like you were only talking to me. And the word dare was such a fun, playful word for me that she said, take it and run with it. And I did. And that's what daring came to be. There's also an acronym, the DARE method. It's decide, awaken, reconnect, and experience.
Okay.
It's the process by which you can get unstuck and reconnect with your purpose or fun or fulfillment by making a decision. And when you make a decision, it awakens your mind and your heart to what's possible. Once you awaken it, you're reconnecting to possible new and old dreams and people and relationships. And then you get to dare experience it all. That's my dare methods.
Hey, Jodi, what movie character do you most identify with?
Oh, I love that question. And that's an easy one. I identify with Joy from Inside Out.
Okay. So I can see that, but tell us why you identify with joy.
It's my personality to bring joy and light and, happiness and excitability to wherever I go. It's just natural for me. I bring that energy. I understand you have to have the other emotions, but I'm the one who's going to hold space, but move you toward out of the darkness into the light.
Yeah, and you know something else about joy? Joy learned how to honor the other emotions. And I feel like
Yes.
you've learned through
Oh,
life
yes.
how to honor the other emotions, and
Yeah.
but you can lead with joy.
It was a really learning moment for Joy that you can't have joy without moving through sadness.
Mhm.
It was sadness that really showed it to her. And yes, thank you for sharing that. You articulated that really well for me because I do bring the joy and spread it, but I have learned that
Mhm.
in order to get to joy, the other emotions, you have to move through them and allow them in.
You lead other women into relationships with themselves, with each other. What do you value in friendships?
Loyalty, authenticity. When I say loyalty, standing up for each other and authenticity, be you, do you. I'm fiercely loyal in my relationships. I will come and stand by your side if you are wronged, even if it's
Mm.
uncomfortable for me. So, loyalty, honesty, and just be your authentic self.
You're really passionate about loyalty and you show up as a loyal friend. Where does that come from?
I attribute mostly how to be a really good friend to my mom. My mom is really passionate about our friendship. She really modeled how to show up for friends. When I say loyal, I want to be clear. It's not blindly following me, linking arms when your friend is hurt. My mom modeled that for me.
You'd be a good friend to a lot of women.
It's very important to me. It's one of my core values. It's not about losing yourself. It's not about putting myself last and also honoring how you feel too. You're making me think, Misty, if I may. One of the hardest things, and it just happened recently for me, life has hit and thrown some challenges in my path for the last 3 months. And it's been really difficult. There have been a lot of sad moments, a lot of frustrating, hard moments. And I really felt, and you're talking to one optimistic person here, but I felt my energy level really crashing. I was sad. I was frustrated. I have a really close friend who I love and adore, and she literally went in for hip replacement surgery when all of this started with, and I didn't go see her. I didn't send her
Mhm.
flowers, my normal thing that I would do. I didn't go visit her yet. And I say this because sometimes we can't show up how we want to show up. And what honors you and your relationship is being honest and vulnerable with that person. I called her when I
Mm.
got home from my last trip and I just said, please just receive this. Just hear me out. I love you. I adore you. I know you've been through a hard time. And I know I haven't been there the way I would have liked to have been there for you and probably how you would have thought I would. And I just want to let you know I love you. And I've just had some things going on that have prevented me. And I hope it's okay. And she was like, I get it. I love you too. And it's okay. And so, honor your relationships and honor yourself. And I couldn't have done that 5, 6 years ago. I wouldn't have known to do that. It's the work we do. If you show up with love and honesty and authenticity, you can only hope that the other person will receive it, but you can't control how they will or not. I just knew that ignoring it, which is the easier thing, I haven't called her, I'm just not gonna call her, I'm scared to call her. I didn't feel like I was showing up the way I would have hoped a friend would show up for me. So just honor your relationships by honoring yourself.
Mhm. Unlike you, probably 10 years ago, it would have been that thing where, "Oh, I've let it go this far. She's upset with me." Those things that we tell
Yes.
instead of pressing into the friendship and pressing into believing in the good and the best. How have you learned to bounce back from a difficult season?
Isn't it so easy to talk about what we know now? So if I really think back, I didn't have the unique ability of being able to bounce back from adversity. I found ways to do it. And I'm still diving deep into my childhood to understand. If I think about what has helped me, it is learning to understand and taking notice and being aware of what I'm feeling in a moment and pausing to get curious about it. I've learned that because I've done the work, Misty, right? I've done the work. When challenges happen, like what just happened, my aunt passed away. I'm extremely sad about that. But noticing it and understanding, I'm sad. I'm going to allow myself to feel sad. I don't want to stay sad. I get sad and then I move through it and I start to think about something happy. First step is always awareness, right? Awareness is the key to really living a fulfilled, happy life. When you're aware that you're feeling something, like my jaw is tight right now. What was I thinking about? Was thinking about this public speaking thing I have. Oh, I got a little tense on that. Why? I wonder why I'm tense. What am I worried about? So being aware of what you're feeling by noticing tension in your body or just how you're feeling and then getting curious about it, letting yourself feel it and then move through it.
I heard a speaker once that said, just giving yourself like 90 seconds to let an emotion pass through your body. You're like, 90 seconds, that's not that long. Can I allow myself 90 seconds to feel this emotion and release it? But I remember as a young mom, nobody was talking about this.
I didn't have these tools as a young mom.
Yeah. And so I think about my kids who are moms or young adults, and I'm like, they have the information, they have the education, and the fact that we're talking about it and we're talking to young moms in that
Yes.
space. And we're saying, hey, do this, mom. Save yourself from, 10 years of therapy trying to figure
Yes.
out why your body is sick all the time because you've held in all these emotions.
Mm.
I'm glad we're talking about it, even though we
Yes.
didn't have the tools back then.
There weren't any Facebook groups.
No.
I didn't even have a podcast to listen to. I yelled way too much. I didn't understand what was going on. I don't have regrets. My kids are great. There were so many things that I look at now. I know I'm different now. You can't beat yourself up. We do the best we can do with what we have at the moment where we are. I know for a fact I did the best I could do in raising my children, and I'm still doing the best that I can do with where I am today.
One thing my kids have appreciated about me as I've gotten older is that I am still learning and recognize and acknowledge to them that I am still learning and I don't have some of the beliefs that I had when I was raising them. But it's like you said, we do what we know to do, but then being humble and
Yes.
going to them and saying, hey, this is something that I did. It looks like it's caused some disruption in your life as an adult.
I think, Missy, I think that's right on. I think the best gift we can give our kids as moms is to model the behavior by apologizing, by affirming, by recognizing, whatever you want to call it. It's a really good lesson. It's a good way to model it. I've done things and I've apologized. I called my daughter back once. I said, you know what? I jumped right in there with my opinion. And I know that's not what you wanted. And I'm so sorry. I jumped back onto my fixer wagon and I didn't mean to shit.
It's very restorative to relationships. You are a coach and you have a certain segment of women that you really walk alongside, and that is women that are becoming empty nesters.
Yes.
How can moms prepare for their children leaving home? Here's the caveat to that. So,
Yes.
how can you help moms with elementary age kids prepare for that inevitable day that their kids are going to say, adios, mom, and
Oh,
okay? Because we think, oh, when they're 16, I'll think
yeah.
about it. But I think we need to start thinking about it when they're 6, 7. They're going to leave someday.
It's a powerful question. So I agree with you. Your kids are never too young for you to start taking the baby steps towards preparing yourself and preparing them. And there's two things, because there's something you need to do, especially when they get along the way to middle school and high school for them. For you, and I'm not going to say it's easy, but here I am. I'm a yes and person, not a yes but person, a yes and. So we're just going to say it right now, one time only. Not easy. Kids are little. They demand attention. They demand your time. It's what it is. Motherhood is demanding and it's time consuming. And a lot of moms are working out of the house. And those that are full time moms are working 24/7 in the house. So let's just put it out there. We know it's hard. And it's still possible for you to carve a little space for you. That's the number one way that you can begin to prepare yourself as they progress up through elementary school, middle school, and high school. And the time that you have without them gets bigger and bigger and bigger. If you can make some you time, some mom time, some couple time, it can even be as little as 10 minutes of reading a book by yourself. And I don't care. I am not above hiding in my closet for my children. So start finding time for yourself. Find something you enjoy doing. Maybe you can't get out to the gym, but maybe you can put the movie on. It's mommy's time to work out and find some exercise time. If you really have a difficult time breaking away from your children to carve out that time, then do it with them. Make a reading moment. You're going to do a 20-minute reading time. You're going to read your book. And it could be picture books. And mommy's going to read her book and we're going to sit together. We have a little book club. However, you can carve out time for yourself will help you. So when the time does open up, you're like, wow, I really did love reading. I'm going to start a book club, or maybe I'm just going to read more. You're just going to make
Mm,
quiet time. Or now that there's more time, take that yoga class 1 day a week. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Find time to do something. It's so important and it will
yeah.
help.
It sounds like you're speaking from experience. When your kids were little, how did you find mom time? Because you worked.
I worked part-time, but it was challenging. And so I worked after my daughter was born. I worked 3 days a week. I wanted to work, Misty. I never envisioned myself home 24 hours a day as a mom. I didn't think that would be healthy for me as a mom.
Uh-huh.
And I think you do what's good for you, then it's good for your kids. But I did have the mom guilt. I worked out a lot prior to having kids and I wanted to stay in shape and I wanted to go to the gym and I liked my classes. And so I would come home. Ellie had been playing with our nanny who came 3 days a week. And I would pick her up and we'd go to the gym and she hated it. She had to
Mm,
come get me from class twice because she was holding her breath. And I said to myself, you know what? It's not fair. I felt guilty about it, but I was also frustrated. I'm like, I want to work out. I know I work, but I want to exercise. Work is not exercise. How can I do it where I can do what's good for me, but coming home and then just going right to the gym is not good for it for the baby.
uh,
So we invested in a treadmill for the house. I put a playpen in the basement with me, and she was down there. I let go of having it to be an hour-long class. This is what it had to be. Instead, I would take her for a walk in a stroller after work, and then maybe I would get on the treadmill for an extra half hour. She
uh-huh.
wasn't holding her breath anymore. We were together. I found another woman on my street, a neighbor. She also worked. We literally almost every day after work when the weather was nice, she'd put her son in the stroller, I put Ellie, and we would go walking for a
Yeah.
couple miles.
This sounds like a perfect example of a yes and experience
Yes.
because the and opens up the possibilities. You didn't say, yeah, I want to do this, but
Yes.
it's not going to work. You were a yes and it opened up what are the possibilities for me to continue to move and have it work for my daughter as well.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing, Missy. When you have children, you do give up things.
You
You
do.
have to. You have to. You're responsible for a baby that can't do anything for themselves. And then you're raising them. And so there is a part of you that has to take the back seat. I want to give the moms permission. It's not selfish. I wasn't selfish because I wanted to exercise. If I didn't exercise, my health would suffer. If my health suffers, then me as a mom would suffer. So how could I do it? Walking with the stroller was a really
Uh-huh.
good way to do. There's
Yeah.
always a way to find something
There
to do.
is, and I totally agree. I'm a options person. Let's look at all the options. There's
Yeah.
possibilities. Let's brainstorm. And now you said, so here's what mom can do, even when kids are little, to begin to prepare her heart for that inevitable day. You mentioned what mom or parents might be able
Do
to
for them.
begin to prepare the young person.
This is a win-win for both because it's
Oh,
going to empower your children to feel confident in making decisions, conflict, and advocating for themselves. The first reaction might be what I'm about to share is that's going to give me stress and anxiousness and worry. I don't want them to have to struggle. It will empower you if you can embrace, if every mom can embrace. I wish I had known this. Gosh, do I wish I had known this earlier. If you could embrace making a gradual shift from the fixer of all things in your children's life to the coach. And it could start really young. Here's an example. When my son was in elementary school, he came home one day and he made a comment. He was not happy. And he made a comment about how he just watched the other boys play football. And I said, did you not want to play? He said, I wasn't allowed to play. I said, what do you mean you weren't allowed to play? And I sidebar, I don't know where I came up with this idea because I really wasn't this evolved back then, but I'm really
it
proud.
worked, right?
This is a really proud moment for me as a mom. Um, he said, well, they said I couldn't play. I said, "Well, is there anybody else that wasn't allowed to play?" And he mentioned two other boys I know were his friends. And I said, "Well, do you want to play football?" He's like, "Yeah." So we thought about it. I said, "You know what, Dan? What do you think about taking a football to school?" and just having a catch with the boys that want to play. And he's like, now that was a little bit of a fixer thing, but I was showing him how to do a yes and, or that these other boys don't get to tell you can't play football. And as they get older, it's more like when they come up from middle school and they said, this teacher is mean to me, the teacher doesn't like me, and take a beat. I call taking a beat a pause, because
Mhm.
the first reaction is, well, I'm going to call the teacher. Talk to your child. Why do you believe the teacher doesn't like you? Share the situation with me. What do you think the best way to handle this? Guide them, get curious. Do you want my help? How would you like me to help? Yes, you're going to have to advocate for your children at times, but when
Right.
they come to you with a problem, instead of jumping in to say, this is what you should do, this is what you have to do, this is what I would do, this is what you need to do, get curious. First, ask them, are you looking for me to fix this for you, to give you ideas of what to do? Get clarity on what they're asking. We are such a safe space for our children, Misty. And
Mhm.
as your children advance through school, and especially when they go off to college, they're going to call you with conflict. They're going to call you with, I don't know what to do. Um, I missed 2 classes and I don't know if I should go back to class because the professor said there was a no missing class.
Uh-huh.
Get curious. What caused you to miss class? So I was sick. Well, does the professor know you're sick? No. Well, what do you think about reaching out? You are
Uh-huh.
offering solutions and you're not telling them what to do.
Right. You're giving them the opportunity to think about a different approach or a different mindset
And here's
or
a big one for especially girls. You have a fight with your best friend. Don't get mad. Check your, I'm going to strangle this child for being mean to my child.
right.
Check that at the door because we're all very protective. We're like the mama bears.
Yeah.
And maybe say, well, tell me what happened. What would you like to have happen? Well, I want her to apologize and I want this or I want that. Say, okay. And then my favorite thing is, okay, so if this were reversed, how would you want somebody to approach you if they were mad at you, angry at you, hurt by you? So that's coaching versus fixing. What that does on a subconscious level, let your child know that you believe that they've got it, that they can handle
Right.
it. And really our goal is to raise confident decision making, good, kind human beings, right? Because if you don't teach them how to advocate for themselves, how to stand up for themselves, how to resolve conflict, how to apologize when you need to apologize, the world's going to teach them these lessons in a much harsher way. And what I said to beginning, like somebody would say, well, it's so anxiety provoking. When they come to me, I just want to fix it. I want to fix it. Yes, but I promise you, if all you use is that permission question, it will change the trajectory of your relationship with them.
Uh-huh. It's fun to have adult kids that are capable and conscientious. That's good to make that transition. And I believe too, like you said, it can start when they're younger, that you can begin to give them
Practice.
opportunities to make decisions and fail. I think we're so afraid of letting our
Yes.
kids fail that a lot of parents are continually managing all the space and managing all the things because number one, we're
It's
afraid
our
that they have to
fear.
fail, but also we're exhausted. And if we don't manage it all, it might get really messy and out of control, right?
That's definitely one reason. The other reason is our fear. We project what we feel will happen if they don't meet a deadline. I mean, moms are born to be fixers, but it's all about awareness. Awareness is a big thing. Aware of how you feel, aware of how you act, aware of the things you say. And then the second thing is that pause, that taking a beat,
Mm,
not reacting in the
mhm.
moment. Taking a beat and asking yourself, what about this is making me want to jump in? What about this is making me uncomfortable or fearful? Why am I scared of this for them?
Why do I feel the need to have to fix it or have the answer for them? That's good. That's a
Yeah.
good question. Here is one more question. What can I ask myself to help prepare me for that time that they're going to be gone? How can I coach myself?
I would say ask yourself what it is that you have always enjoyed doing that you have not been able to do because of the mom years and the things that have gotten in your way. So that you can start shifting the focus back onto your interests while they're doing the same. So here's what I always say, we are raising our children to brave new experiences, learn new things, and meet new people. So ask yourself, how can you embark on the same journey
Mm,
that you're raising your children to go out on so that while they're doing that, you're doing that. You're still there.
Mhm.
Because here's the thing, the number one thing the women tell me when they find the Moms Who Dare Facebook group and their kids have left for college is that they don't need them anymore. And that's wrong. That's a myth. They just don't need you the way you're used to them needing you because they're not living in your home 24/7. It's hard. It's hard. So to prepare, start thinking about how to let go of that. And the best way to let go of it is by focusing on something that brings you joy, that challenges you, that turns that mind on again.
That's good. And I think you have a little tool that maybe can help moms begin to step into some of those moments.
Yes, I have something called 30 Days of Doable Dares. I say doable because I'm not going to go tell you to jump out of an airplane right away. I want doable little things. Maybe it's taking an art class. Maybe it's grab the girls and go for walks. Or maybe it's investigating classes. Maybe you want to learn a new language. Doable things, even volunteering. There's nothing
Mhm.
more purposeful or meaningful and getting you out of your own head than doing for somebody else. So it's 30 days of doable dares to get you moving and taking action on things for you.
I downloaded it. It's just good ideas. A great resource for ideas. There's a great coaching community called Moms Who Dare,
Moms who dare.
available on Facebook. How can people get a hold of you, Jodi?
Yeah. And I'll also say your resource is your show too. You can get ideas by listening to the conversations that you have with your guests, the conversations that I have on Beyond Empty Nest,
Okay.
conversation and the events that I host in Moms Who Dare. So the best place to go, if you want to go directly to the community, it's Facebook. It's a private group. Just put in Moms Who Dare. It'll come up. Otherwise, jodisilverman.com. My website has everything. I love when people follow me on social. That's fun.
Thank you so much for sharing with moms of all ages on that journey and the process and your own story. It is always fun to hang out with you. Wasn't that a dare of an episode? Jodi just dropped some serious wisdom on embracing new seasons, rediscovering you, and navigating motherhood without completely losing your identity or your patience. So, what's your next dare? Maybe it's signing up for that yoga class you've been avoiding. Maybe it's giving your kids more freedom without hovering like that mom-shaped drone. Or maybe it's simply daring to take a deep breath and know that you are doing an amazing job. And speaking of daring, don't forget to sign up for my free masterclass, Align Your Life with What Matters Most, happening March 10th and 11th from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's your chance to take a step toward living, leading, and loving from a place of joy and purpose. Just head over to momtomommentoring.com/values and let's do this together. Now, if this episode encouraged you, I'd love it if you take a moment and leave a review and share it with a friend. Your support helps more kingdom-minded moms find the encouragement and inspiration right when they need it most. Until next time, keep daring to live, lead, and love with an overflowing heart.